Hi everyone, it's Pastor Penn Clark. I remember when I was a kid growing up in Belleville, Ontario, that most weekends we would go back to the Kildare area where my grandparents lived, and they had a farm, and we got to explore the 50 acres that they farmed, and it was like living in two worlds. We had city life and we had country life on weekends, and it was wonderful. I remember we played hockey. I played on a team. I was a goaltender and played on a team with equipment and all of that. But when we could, we'd go back to our grandparents' place, and you could just skate on all the ponds and the streams. And well, when we got back there, just when the conditions were perfect, it had just rained really heavy for a long time and then froze very quickly. Everything was covered in ice, and we could skate, and we did skate all day long. We went down to the swamp, and we would skate among the bulrushes and skate on the little paths, and the ice was perfect. We didn't have to shovel it like we normally would. We didn't have to do anything to make it special. It was just perfect ice, which you don't find very often. And we didn't go back to the house all day. We were just skating. We got down in the woods and we started skating among the trees. What a thrill that was, and how unusual it was to get among these trees and just skate and skate and skate. At the end of the day, we went home tired and went home to a big wood fire in the stove and taken off of our stuff and very excited about what we'd experienced. We were telling them what we'd experienced. And my grandmother had an old reader from a public school reader, and in it had a story of this guy who somewhere in Europe was skating in the woods, and he had special speed skates. And anyway, they got the book out, and they're telling us the story, and the story picks up where he's skating in the woods, and actually it's not Europe, it's in Massachusetts, and he's skating in the wilderness of Massachusetts. And wolves come out of nowhere and begin to chase him, and he has to outskate the wolves. I still have this reader. I have that story, and it's just a thrilling story of this man being chased by wolves. Well, when they told us that story, and well, the next day when it came time to go skating, we couldn't skate very far away from the house. We didn't want to be back down in those woods. We tried it, but every shadow was a wolf. Every stump, every darkened area, we could see the yellow eyes and the fangs, and we were too scared to keep skating down in that woods. We would skate very close to the house. Everything became a wolf, except we really didn't see any of that. It was all seen with the eyes of our heart. It's seen with our powerful imagination. God's given us that imagination. He's made us that way. Everybody has it. And you can see things that are not there, and even imagine things. And that imagination, the ability to see with the eyes of your heart is given by God to help equip us to this life of faith, that we walk with Him by faith. And the more you cultivate that, the more powerful you can walk in faith and walk in the prophetic. It really is all the same kind of thing. And but when it gets hijacked and gets used against us, it's the source of our fears, the source of our depression, anxieties that we experience. We're seeing something with the eyes of our heart. The thing is, your body can't tell if you're seeing it or if you're seeing it. It can't tell if you're really seeing it, and it does what it's designed to do. When you see harm, you see the wolves, you'll go into a defense mode. You'll start perspiring, you start breathing heavy, your blood pressure goes up, you become super alert, eyes dilate, all the stuff that helps save us, helps us when we're in trouble. You get a burst of energy, a burst of strength that you don't normally walk around with. But if you're seeing, projected with the eyes of your heart, things that aren't there, that kick that in, it's like pouring rocket fuel into your system. If you keep doing that, something's going to break. Something's going to get ruined. It's going to ruin your heart. Jesus said, there's days coming in the end time that are so awful, so difficult, so stressful, that men's hearts will fail them for fear. In other words, they're physically being affected by something that they're imagining, something that is in their soul. And there's a connection. And a lot of things, arthritis, backache, stress, sciatica, lots of things, lots of issues that we're suffering from physically come out of something that we're seeing with the eyes of our heart, we're imagining. That tool, the power of imagination, is intended to be used for meditation, where we picture the Bible, we open up the Bible, we read a story, we close it, we make a movie, we picture that, and it moves us. It helps us picture heaven. It's possible to experience the peace of heaven when you're going through a difficult time just by putting yourself before that throne of grace that's offered to us as a place to go where we can find grace and mercy in a time of need. And so it's intended for our good, but it gets hijacked by our flesh, can get hijacked by the devil, and cause us to be run ragged. And so I wrote a book called Following the Eyes of Your Heart that substantiate this in detail, but it shows us how this powerful tool, which is given to us by God, it's the way we're built, can be used against us. And I hope it would help you to read something like this to show you, and especially our kids, that we can show them how to move their eyes, how to turn their eyes from whatever they're imagining. Look to the Lord, turn their eyes. When you move your eyes, your feelings follow your eyes. And so it's possible to actually move the eyes of your heart to show that, to see God as big and mighty and powerful and loving, gracious, and cause those fears to subside. But you have to move your eyes. He can't move your eyes for you. Your pastor, your parents, the police, nobody can move your eyes for you. You have to think on these things. You have to choose what you're going to meditate on. And so I encourage you to think about this. I encourage you, if you want to go deeper, get the book where you can actually see it all, verse by verse, all laid out in a way that clearly makes sense. God bless you as you seek the Lord and look to Him, because from Him comes our help. When we're going through a difficult time, we look to the Lord in a time of need, and He gives us peace. God bless you as you seek the Lord.